So if you got laid off next month, would you feel calm or would you be scared out of your freaking mind? In July 2025, I was laid off from a $200,000 job. And the reason I didn't freak out was because I had built my trading process while life was stable, while things were good. And last year, I made over $100,000 while trading. And I'm going to show you the quiet work that made that possible. So let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name is LaKiesha, and I have been trading for over 15 years. Well, investing and trading, a combination of 15 years. And it has been one heck of a journey. And what I do on this channel is I share all the things that I learned and all of the things that I've tried here on this YouTube channel, sharing it with you all, looking to provide some value so that way you don't have to make the same mistakes that I did while I was learning. So now that I'm on the other side, I have a couple of different programs that I provide help in, like the Profitable Traders Academy, which is the main program I have. You can see the website on the screen. It is LaKieshaTrades.com. And that is going to be the best way to work with me and get a lot of attention from me. So that way you can be successful much more quicker than just watching these YouTube videos, even though they are great. So let me go ahead and share my screen now. Let me move this over. Oops. Okay. So here we are. So, all right. So you should be able to see my screen now. So basically, the video that I created last week was called How I Made $100,000 Trading After Losing My Job. You can find that here. So basically, there were a lot of things that I did before I actually got laid off and was able to make that 100K, which is quite incredible. Definitely proud of myself and looking to break that record this year, but not really forcing it. So this was something that I did. So basically I prepared. So just in case. So there were some things that were happening inside of the company where essentially I saw the writing on the wall. I saw where some sectors were moving people around, they were losing funding, and I thought, well, there's only a matter of time before it actually affects my sector as well, especially me being a senior manager. So I saw these things happening and I started to really put my foot on the pedal in terms of putting some money aside for my savings, also building up my trading account, basically just taking another portion of money and putting it inside of my trading account. So that way I can have this money just in case things happen. Things happen in the market all the time, but I just wanted to have that cushion and just know that things were good. So what I wasn't trying to do was I was not trying to escape my job. I actually liked my job in the industry that I was working in, especially because I have a background as an engineer and I worked my way up through the ranks working at multiple companies and learning some really cool things. So a lot of those principles and things that I learned inside of these jobs really helped me apply them to trading and apply them to business. And I teach those lessons and frameworks here on this channel. So wasn't trying to escape at all. I was not trying to replace my income fast. If somebody tells you that trading is a quick way to money, they are absolutely lying to you. It is not a quick way, but it can be very lucrative if you stick with it and continue to get mentorship, which is why I provide mentorship. And I believe wholeheartedly in mentorship because it has helped me progress much faster. So the other thing, not trying to trade my way out of fear. So unfortunately, people try to wait until, there's pressure and they're trying to trade and treat it like a lottery ticket. It's not that at all. It's literally a skill that you build up over time. So not trying to trade out of fear. I was building the skills while my life was stable, and I'm going to show you exactly what that looked like and the things that I did. So I built these skills when there was no pressure. So a lot of times people try to learn when something's on fire. So basically they try to, something happens and then they try to scramble really quick and try to make things happen. And I appreciate the hustle, but there's a smarter way to do it. And it's to prepare. So I focus on preparing without needing to trade every single day, just because I was working full time and I didn't have time to look at the markets every single minute of the day or even every hour because I was stuck in meetings. I had projects, I had deadlines, I had all these different things that I had to focus on. I also traveled and then was speaking to people and all these other things. So basically it was a lot, and I didn't have the time to just sit and look at the market and wait for a setup. So the other thing that I did focus on was learning how to wait without feeling behind, and going back to all those things inside of the job, the responsibilities. A lot of times I had to wait for the opportunity to appear in the market, because the fact that I wasn't day trading or not scalping. So day trading, if you don't know, is basically you open a trade sometime during the day and you close it before the end of the day or before the market closes. And scalping is maybe you're in a trade 5 minutes, 20 minutes. You're only trying to get like, a really small move. So it depends on the market, but you're trying to get a small move. And I just wasn't with that because I didn't have time for that. So I was considered more of a swing trader where basically I would hold the position for days, weeks, sometimes months. And it moved a lot slower, but it was more steady for me and the pace of my life at that time, trying to not really balance work and trading, but making sure that trading didn't take over my life. So those skills that I built, it wasn't always exciting. It wasn't always the most glamorous at all. But this was the biggest difference between being calm when you get a layoff notice and freaking out when you get a layoff notice. And obviously was not happy, but I didn't panic because I had calculated all the money that I had in savings, money that I had in my trading accounts, and, just everything that had happened. I was okay. So, and that was really good. And I have a good support system as well, personally. So that all really helps. Having the money and the support system really works. That is why I am telling you this, so you can get things together, even if you're not at risk of getting a layoff. Maybe there's some other things you want to do. You can kind of use the same blueprint in order to do the things that you're looking to do. So the next thing I did is I protected my time on purpose. And basically what this means to me is I didn't need all day in order to, let's just say I was working with a mentor. I didn't need all day to work with them because a lot of times you can't, but go through the content, practice on the charts and things of that nature. I didn't need all day. But what I did do is I use weekends, evenings, and basically just really short blocks. Sometimes it was 30 minutes, sometimes it was an hour. And then on the weekends, especially if I wasn't traveling or doing anything, then I would have maybe sprints of 2 hours throughout that, maybe Saturday, usually 2 hours in order to study and practice, and also on Sunday as well. And basically I would fit time into those blocks, mostly in the evenings and the weekends, sometimes in the morning, but really a lot of times I did not get up early enough before work in order to do that. So it was more so evenings and weekends for me. But basically those little blocks of 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, a couple hours, just depending on my availability, was really helpful because also, at the same time, I was making these YouTube videos, and you could go back and see that I had been making videos for quite a while. So sometimes I would have these very intense sessions. Like I said, it would be like a couple hours, take a break, go back at it, which was cool. Definitely in grind mode. It's just part of the process. It's not going to be, hey, let me look at the charts for 5 minutes and bam, I'm making money. That's not how this works at all. And sometimes it was just enough time for me to stay sharp without burning out, especially with all the other things that I was doing. So a lot of times making these YouTube videos, especially I started making the YouTube videos once I got to the point of consistently profitable, and just marking up the charts here on YouTube was time for me to actually look at the charts and keep sharp, because I was constantly doing these videos every single week and I'm still doing them. So all of this helps. And that consistency mattered more than motivation did, because I had purpose. And the purpose for me was to, at least at that time period, especially much earlier, was showing my process of how I trade the markets and how I chart the markets, specifically gold and some other markets that you will find here on this channel, but showing you how I do it in a way that was easy and simple to follow. And that came from a good 18 months of me refining my process and marking up the charts in a way that made sense to me, that wasn't overly complicated, that didn't use a whole bunch of indicators. Although I do use a couple of indicators, but it's not crazy. I need to find the screenshot. I'll find it someday. But basically of how my charts looked when I first started trading. And it was a mess because I had so many different things. I was watching one YouTube video that said, hey, put this indicator on here. Another one that said, use this other one. And it was just crazy. So anyway, so it took all that stuff off. And now the process that you see here on YouTube is the actual process that I use in order to mark up my charts. And then I have an even simpler way of marking up my charts. And people inside of the Profitable Traders Academy know exactly what that is. And they also have training videos in order to help them be able to do that for themselves. But I tell them, start here and then go there. Like master this and then go there. So anyway, so the next thing I did was I delayed decisions. So this is going to be very uncomfortable for some people, but basically I delayed scaling too fast because when I tried to move fast, I lost over 30K in 1 week. And that obviously is not fun. And that definitely takes a hit to your confidence, especially because for me, that was earlier in my journey in trading before I hit consistent profitability, but it was a lot. I mean, that's a big number. So that was definitely not good. And basically I did not increase my risk just to make it work out. And basically, I know that you have to put on risk in order to see gains. But if you are not consistent, then it's not going to help. So basically, I stayed with the same markets that I understood, and I kept my risk about the same. And then I would just scale up gradually. And this was more so I didn't really scale up until I became consistently profitable. And I'm still working on scaling up even more years later. So these are just things. And then basically I did not change direction every time I felt certain about the markets. I kept the same bias. If I was looking to buy, I am going to buy. If I'm looking to sell, I am looking for sales. So I remember earlier in my journey where I would see the market go up. Ooh, I'm going to buy. I see the market go down. Ooh, I'm going to sell. And then that flip-flopping basically just caused me to lose so much money because I was never consistent on the direction. And if I would have just stuck with one bias or stayed with one bias at that time, then I would have been good in terms of the type of gains that I could have saw in the market. So basically just delaying some of these decisions in terms of scaling and increasing my risk and all of those things, it definitely gave me clarity. It gave me the space and I wasn't panicking every time the market went against me or I was in drawdown. So basically, when the pressure showed up, I wasn't deciding from emotion because I was prepared, especially when that layoff came. I was prepared because I had been preparing for years, didn't really know that it was something that I would come to depend on for income completely. So glad I put that work in, and that's why I'm sharing this. So all of this stuff that I talked about, it's not, impressive. Like it wasn't like, it wasn't like glamorous. And that's the stuff that people really don't post about. And it felt slow, quiet, boring, easy to underestimate the progress that I was actually making because I felt like I wasn't really doing what I feel like I could have been doing, but all of it helped. And I had been posting, like I said, for 2 years consistently here on YouTube, sharing my thoughts and ideas. And I waited until I was consistently profitable as a trader. I was profitable as an investor. That's a totally different world, but profitable in trading. And then I started making these videos. So basically, I wasn't looking for external validation, no hype or anything on this channel. You will not see any hype on this channel at all. It is entertainment sometimes, but most times it is education because I love to educate and I love to share the things that I am learning. And that's why I create these videos, although I could be doing something else like watching Netflix or just anything else. But I choose to do these videos because I genuinely enjoy sharing. So when the layoff happened, nothing in my process had to change. The work was already done. And it just put me in a really good position. So I'm sharing this because if you're in a situation where maybe your job is a little shaky, or maybe you're looking to do something different because you don't like your job. That wasn't my situation, but maybe it's you. And you just want to set yourself up so that way, no matter what happens, you have a skill that you don't have to rely on anyone else for but yourself. Because the market doesn't care about your degrees or the fact that you maybe don't have degrees. It doesn't care about what you look like, doesn't care about your past history. You just show up and you make, a trade, and you just let it do what it do. But hopefully you did the planning and everything you needed to do in order to be potentially successful. So at this point, I want you to really consider joining the Profitable Traders Academy. You can find the website at LaKieshaTrades.com. Look at the website and see if it's a good fit for you. You can sign up directly on the page, or you can schedule a call with my program advisor and he will give you the rundown on everything you need to know. So if you are at the point where you're probably thinking, okay, but what does this actually look like week to week? How did you work this out for yourself? I want you to check out this video called the 3-part trading routine for busy traders with a 9-to-5 job. This is literally going to break down everything, and this thumbnail says it all. You can find it on your screen right now. So go ahead and watch that, and I'll see you in the next one.